start. It has given me great pleasure to be present here today and to know from the illuminating speech of your chairman, Srimati Durgabai Deshmukh, how the Central Social Welfare Board, which was established last year, is steadily expanding its activities. Whenever I think about the social welfare problem, my mind spontaneously turns to the directive principles incorporated in Part 4 of our Constitution, which came into force on the 26th January 1950. That is the pole star which guides our activities in the field of social welfare. Having been closely associated with the deliberations of the Constituent Assembly as its president, the reference to the directive principles strikes a sympathetic chord in my mind as it evokes a personal concern. You are all aware that the directive principles laid down in Part 4 of our Constitution are fundamental in the governance of the country and that it is the sacred duty of the state to apply them in making laws. It is therefore a matter for serious thought as to how far we have discharged that responsibility of securing social and economic justice, which is the ideal placed before us in the preamble of our Constitution. Have we made any progress towards the objective laid down in Articles 38 and 41 of the Constitution? Has the state, within the limit of its capacity, made any effective provision for securing the right to work, to education, and to assist the unemployed, the old, and the sick? The Constitution prohibits employment of children below the age of 14 in factories, mines, and such hazardous undertakings. We might search our hearts and ask ourselves whether we have done everything that is possible to implement this directive. These are some of the matters to which I would expect this conference to devote its attention. If any of the existing laws are coming in the way of implementing the directive principles, I believe suitable steps will have to be taken to bring them in conformity with the Constitution. In a vast country like ours, a network of social organizations would be necessary to create a welfare state. Luckily, however, traditions of voluntary social service in India are as old as her history. Many of these voluntary organizations have been doing pioneering work over a number of years. One of the great pioneers in this field was the late Shri Gopal Krishna Gokhale. It is heartening to note that the Central Board recognized that it was not enough to extend financial aid to welfare organizations which are mostly localized in or around urban areas. Our rural areas do not receive the attention they deserve at the hands of social workers. No doubt the Gandhian constructive workers have shown the way, and the community projects and the National Extension Service Administration that followed are making an organized effort for the first time on the national scale to contact the village folk. But the emphasis in the community projects and the National Extension Service blocks has been mostly, and of course rightly, on more and better production, regional development in terms of roads and communications, and a modest program of social education coupled with public health services. The welfare extension project schemes of the Central Social Welfare Board therefore came not a day too soon to supplement the other effort in the rural areas. and I am glad to see that a nexus has now been established between the urban and the rural areas. The whole gamut of activity under the 5-year plan can be roughly divided under two heads: economic and social. While the need for social services is greater, the wherewithal for the same is not available to the required extent. Again, while for implementing the economic program, the services of a well knit organization are available, the machinery for implementing the social program can be built up only as the actual work progresses. But it is of the utmost importance to remember that, in a way, economic progress is only a means to progress in the direction of social welfare, which may be said to be the end of planning. The whole thing sounds like a paradox, which perhaps it is. At first sight, it seems that economic progress without solid achievement in the field of social welfare will ever remain bereft of its real content. On the other hand, we find the concept of social welfare less concrete than that of economic progress, and therefore less easy to grasp and more difficult to achieve than the latter. A dispassionate view of the problem will, however, show that actually there is nothing wrong with our order of priorities. Economic progress being the means to achieve social progress of the community, which is the end, has to be given some preference, and that is exactly how we are proceeding about in the implementation of the 5-year plan. I would like to utter a word of caution. The idea of a welfare state is good and is being pursued by the Government of India. Stop. Government of India. Stop.